Hi, my name is Roland Dobbins, and I'm a principal engineer in NETSCOUT's ASERT team. And in ASERT, we're really focused on DDoS defense. We do research into new DDoS attack vectors and techniques. And when we find out about the details of those new DDoS attack types, we actually write up very detailed descriptions of them and how to mitigate the attacks in the form of threat advisories. And we transmit those to network operators who make use of NETSCOUT DDoS defense solutions. We also produce mitigation templates that provide examples of how to use our DDoS defense solutions very specifically to mitigate those attacks. And our customers can take those templates, copy them, modify them, and actually use them on their networks to mitigate those new types of DDoS attacks. And we also do things like create new DDoS defense countermeasures and mechanisms for detecting, classifying, and tracing back DDoS attack traffic. And those technological advances are incorporated into NetScout DDoS defense solutions. And we're very dedicated to producing operationalizable threat intelligence. And what we mean by that is threat intelligence that actually allows network operators to make forwarding or drop decisions about packets on their network. And so we do things like perform reconnaissance to identify both abusable and actually abused reflectors amplifiers that are used to launch DDoS attacks in the hundreds of gigabits per second and terabits per second, as well as DDoS capable botnets. And we take that threat intelligence and we refresh it every day and push that down into NetScout DDoS defense solutions, again, so that operators can use that in terms of automated and operator assisted DDoS attack mitigation to defend against DDoS attacks that are leveraging those different types of attack assets. And we have the broadest and the deepest DDoS focused threat horizon on the planet. We see something like 38,000 DDoS attacks a day. We saw more than 13 million DDoS attacks in the last year. And so when we first identify those new DDoS attack vectors, we see them initially being used by the more skilled attackers. And then we see when they're reverse engineered and added to DDoS for hire services and are more broadly available. And so we have our finger on the pulse of what's taking place in the DDoS threat landscape, and we can also extrapolate what's going to take place next, and that can be very useful indeed. And we're not just a group of abstract researchers. We have more than 80 years of hands-on DDoS mitigation expertise at scale in the ASERT team, and so we serve as the apex of DDoS mitigation support within NetScout. And so that means that by extension that we are the apex of DDoS mitigation support for a pretty big chunk of the internet. And so we get in there and make use of the DDoS mitigation solutions, working side by side with network operators to mitigate very challenging DDoS attacks. We're also really heavily engaged with the operational community, and we participate in various types of initiatives. We do training, for example, on DDoS defense best practices and best current practices, or BCPs, for network infrastructure, self-defense, and things like DNS architecture, routing security, and those types of topics that are directly related to availability and resilience under attack. And we also, for example, we're involved in an industry initiative to get more network operators to deploy source address validation, or anti-spoofing. And that initiative has been very successful within the operational community. And so over the last 18 months, we've seen a pretty substantial decrease in reflection amplification DDoS attacks and a corresponding increase in direct path DDoS attacks. And those direct path attacks are just what they sound like, where the DDoS attack traffic is emanated directly from the DDoS capable bots or attack systems and goes directly towards the targets. And so reflection amplification attacks haven't gone away, but anything that we as a community can do to lessen the number of reflection amplification attacks actually helps, because the direct path attacks, is very easy to trace back to the sources of those attacks and identify the DDoS attack generators and botnets and work to get them remediated. And so we're involved in all kinds of efforts within the operational community to attack the supply side of DDoS attacks, as well as provide DDoS attack solutions. So hopefully that's provided you with a little bit of insight into what we do in ASERT. Thanks for listening.